Very welcome back to GB News. Now, the French President Emmanuel Macron and his far-right rival Marine Le Pen will be in a runoff for the presidential election in just under 2 weeks' time. President Macron faced criticism for not campaigning in the final weeks before the first round of voting yesterday, but managed to gain 27.6% of the vote, which is more than he got 5 years ago in the first round. However, the far-right leader of the National Rally, Marine Le Pen, also did pretty well, again getting more than she did 5 years ago at 23.4%. And it sets a rematch of 2017 with Emmanuel Macron when he emerged triumphant in a landslide victory. It's looking a hell of a lot closer this time round. Let's bring in our regular Paris contributor, top man, Peter Allen, who is joining us down the line. Peter, very good afternoon to you. We were talking on Thursday, weren't we, about what we expected. Were you surprised, first of all, by the two frontrunners last night? As I said, they both did better than they did 5 years ago.
Yes, they were both up in the ratings, both very pleased with their scores. Excellent first-round scores for both of them, and of course it means they're going to progress into the second round. Marine Le Pen was challenged by Jean-Luc Mélenchon, the far-left candidate, and he started to sort of creep up towards her vote as the evening went on, but he couldn't catch her. So third time, could be third time lucky for Marine Le Pen. She's very, very happy indeed. Her supporters, as we can see in the pictures there, absolutely delighted. She has nationwide appeal, and she thinks that the country is sick and tired of Emmanuel Macron, and that she can replace him in 2 weeks' time.
One of the notable things from last night, Peter, was actually how well the far left did. I mean, he could have ended up in the final two with a couple of more votes, effectively.
Yes, this is one of the extraordinary things about France, and something a lot of people who don't spend too much time here don't really realise. But the far left, the left certainly, is hugely popular across France. A lot of people instinctively have socialist ideas. And if you look at all the different parts of the left, all the different parties and individuals standing with left-wing ideas, if you put them all together, they would comfortably get through to the second round and quite possibly win the whole thing. And yet, year after year, they fail to unite. The last socialist administration, not that long ago, it was François Hollande. He held them all together for 5 years, but then his party completely collapsed when he did. He lost in 2017, or he stopped being president in 2017 anyway, and then Emmanuel Macron, who was in his government, but not, I have to say, as a socialist. He was a senior civil servant, really. But again, Jean-Luc Mélenchon, huge vote, massive vote last night. Millions and millions of people across the country, especially the young. A lot of very, very young people are drawn to left-wing politics. And of course, Mélenchon is an extremist, many would argue. He's anti-capitalist. He's anti the Fifth Republic. He doesn't believe in the system of government here. He'd love to see that pulled apart. And yet he gets this enormous vote. If he'd just got a little bit of more support for, for example, the Socialist Party here, he'd be through.
Indeed. And the big question now, of course, is what happens over the next couple of weeks, where those votes from Mélenchon go, and also Zemmour, who didn't do very well in the end, but got 7%. What's your thought about how those voters, where they will turn to?
Well, officially, you'd think that most of, for example, the Mélenchon supporters would listen to Mélenchon. He has said, don't vote Macron. That's it. He hasn't said, sorry, I beg your pardon, he said, don't vote Le Pen. He hasn't said, don't vote Macron. That doesn't mean his supporters will vote for Macron. A lot of them potentially will abstain, for example. Some will join what is known as the Republican Front. This is people of all political persuasions getting together to fight extremism. That's how it's framed, this idea. Other parties, including the socialists, again, they only got 1.7% last night, so they're not hugely important, but they've been told by their candidate, Anne Hidalgo, to vote for Macron. and the Conservative Party here, the Gaullist Conservatives, who are in an appalling state. This is the party that for years has been the equivalent of the British Conservative Party. They're currently called the Republicans. They got less than 5% last night, which means they lost their deposit. They won't get their expenses paid. So they're now 7 million euros in debt and have launched appeals to try and get that money back. But their candidate, Valérie Pécresse, she has actually said to her supporters, please vote for Emmanuel Macron. So you've got that divide. The only other party that has come out and said vote for Le Pen is Eric Zemmour. He's got a movement called Reconquest, and he's saying inevitably vote far right, and he's saying vote for Le Pen.